Hey YouTube fam, it's your girl Leah back again with another video. In today's video, as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about solo traveling and feeling comfortable while solo traveling. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, you know I've gone on quite a few solo travel trips, and every single time I go on one, I get more and more comments from women out there who say, I feel like watching your videos, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable. In those videos, I'm just vlogging my trip, but I don't feel like I talk about the experience of solo traveling, what goes into it, how you take your pictures, all those things. I don't talk about that in those vlogs because they are what they are. But today's video, we're stepping outside of the vlogs and we're talking about solo traveling. Now, first, this is a video for people who are interested in it. In every single one of my solo vlog videos, I always get comments from people who are like, well, good for you, but I could never. I could never. This video is not for the I could never crowd. This is for the I possibly could, or I will crowd. So anybody who's a negative Nancy, like, I could never do that, this unfortunately is not the video for you, but it is for those people who are enthusiastic about solo traveling. You're always going to get the naysayers. You're going to always get the people who are like, it's not for me, and it's totally fine. Another disclaimer I want to put out there is I know what year I'm filming this video in. I know there are always going to be those disclaimers. Well, be aware, read the room. It is not a great time for traveling. I understand that. Trust me. With the Omicron variant, I know right now is probably not the best time to go on travels and trips. But the thing about YouTube, and the beautiful thing about this, is videos can be watched now and be referenced for later. So when times are better, you can definitely refer back to this video, because traveling, I don't think, is ever going to go away. Just like all my other content, my content is evergreen, meaning you don't have to watch it January or February of 2022. You can watch this and it will be relevant in January of 2024, as well as the fact of the disclaimer that I am not a travel vlogger. I watched a lot of these videos to get myself around the mindset of solo traveling, but they always came from the perspective of somebody who does this for a living. Like, they do this all the time. So their advice always comes from a perspective of somebody who does this 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They do this and they live and breathe this. This is coming from the perspective of somebody who works a full-time job, only gets 20 PTO days. For my London group, I realized that I use PTO in videos. You guys don't know what that means, but 20 holiday days, or time off, paid time off is what PTO stands for. But I only get 20 paid time off days. We have 11 holidays at my job and one floating holiday. So traveling every day cannot be a reality for me. So my video is coming from the perspective of somebody who's going to be an occasional solo traveler, like not about this life all the time. So my perspective and my views and the things I do are going to be a little bit different from those 24/7 all the time travel vloggers out there. Now, the first thing you may be wondering, well, why go on solo travel? I have friends, I have a significant other, I have children, I have family, I have all of this. So why would I ever feel the need to solo travel? I say to that, if you watch my channel this year or the past year, 2021, I went on 5 trips. 3 of which were solo, 2 of which were with friends. I had friends for my birthday trip. I went on a beach trip with my other good girlfriends, and 3 of my other trips were solo trips. So yes, I do have people that I could travel with. However, life at a certain point gets in the way, from not everybody's schedules lining up to maybe somebody not having the money that month. I have friends who just had a baby. 2 of the friends I went on my first trip, the first trip I went on the year with, one of them just had a baby in December of 2021. The other one's getting married in May of 2022. So they can't go to San Francisco, LA. They can't just throw around money like that, especially when they have big financial commitments coming up in the year. And I totally understand that. People are at different phases of their life. But that doesn't negate the fact that I ain't got neither of that going on, so I want to travel. What am I supposed to do? Not. A lot of people just say, well, if I don't have the people, I'm not going to do it. That's not my mentality in life. If the people aren't there, I'm still going to do it. Nothing takes away from the fact that I have places I want to see, things I want to experience. So I'm going to go on these trips regardless of who can and cannot come. You guys know, you've planned friend trips before. How many of you guys have started out with a 6-person friend trip, then you start asking about dates, the group chat gets silent, you start throwing out hotel ideas. The group chat gets silent. They get silent. And a lot of people run into the mentality of, well, my friends can't do it. Well, I don't want to do it. Again, that's not how we do things over here. So that is the why. Why is because if you are somebody who wants to live life, experience life, and you have friends who are in different places in their lives, or money situations, or again, time off is not the same for every single person, solo travel is the best bet. Now, a question I got asked either during a Q&A video or during one of my solo trips was, do you feel lonely when you solo travel? And the short answer for me is no, I don't. But for me, loneliness is kind of a state of mind, I believe, when it comes to people. Like, loneliness and being alone is different. So am I alone during my solo travels? Yes, I'm solo, so I am alone on my trips. However, I'm not lonely because to me, you can be married, you can be in a relationship and be lonely. You can be married, have children, and feel lonely. You can have a boyfriend and feel lonely. You can have a huge, immense amount of friends and be lonely. Like, there's people who are lonely in full-fledged marriages and people don't even realize it. So for me, loneliness is always just a state of mind. But am I alone? Yes. If you're somebody who experiences loneliness in your city, in your home, wherever you are, then if you travel, you're still going to feel that same level of loneliness. Loneliness is going to follow you wherever you go. But I don't feel lonely at home, so I don't really feel lonely when I'm out and about in a different place, if that makes sense. Again, loneliness to me has always been a state of mind. Just because I grew up, my mom didn't have her first child after me until I was about to turn 12. So I was about to turn 12. I'd go my whole life, 0 to almost being a teenager without having any siblings. I kind of got used to just doing my own thing. My mom was an only child her whole life, so I didn't really grow up with a lot of cousins or first cousins. I had a lot of second cousins, but don't have a lot of first cousins. On my dad's side, all of his brothers had children like recently, so their children are like under 9 years old now, so not a lot of cousins again from that side. And so my mom had her first child when I was 12, and then the next one when I was 14. So I kind of grew up, even though I'm not the only child, I grew up being the only child for so long that when I went to college, I had a 4-year-old sister and a almost 7-year-old sister at that time. So again, 18 years old with 2 younger siblings. I grew up in my mind being alone. I found joy being alone most of the time, even though, again, I had lots of friends at school. I talked about this in one of my more recent videos. I was most friendliest in high school. Like, I liked people liked me, but again, I felt comfortable in my alone space. So I'm somebody who it doesn't feel any type of way being alone. But if you are somebody who, I found this comes with people who come from large families, like who have like 3 other brothers and sisters, 5 or 6 first cousins, like they got big families, they do find it and they do struggle a little bit with not having somebody there present with them. They do struggle with loneliness a lot more than somebody like me who doesn't have that huge, immediate and huge extended family. So that's just the loneliness question that's always going to linger when it comes to solo travel. If you're somebody who has that feeling, it's going to come through as you travel as well. Now, feeling comfortable solo traveling, I always say start small with your solo lifestyle. There are people who haven't even gone to like the movies by themselves, to restaurants by themselves. I say start very, very small and then work your way up to solo travel, because that's going to be a bigger thing. Don't just jump out and take a solo travel trip to Dubai and having done nothing else in your life solo. You're probably not going to enjoy it as much, and you're probably going to be like, this is foreign to me. So how I started solo traveling and things of that nature is probably about 8-9 years ago. I had a best friend, the friend I actually went to Cabo with. She used to go to the movies by herself all the time, and I could not for the life of me figure it out. Again, I had just met her 2012, 2013. She'd be like, yeah, I went to the movies. Who did you go to the movies with? I wanted to see a movie. I went to the movies. And I was like, I couldn't do it. So I feel like my first movie, I can't remember what it was, but I said, I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to go to the movies by myself. I did it one time I prefer solo movie dates now more than going with somebody else. Other people be talking and they be in my ear. I like to, if it's a movie I want to enjoy in silence, I ain't got time for it. Again, a movie theater is a experience where you're not really supposed to be talking to the other people besides you, or it's considered rude. That's why I don't like movies as a first date, because we are literally not being like, what's your favorite color? Hey, oh, let me watch the screen. So movies is a dark room. If you're somebody who's like, people are gonna see me, I'm by myself. It's a dark environment. Once those lights go down, nobody knows that you are solo. That is a benefit of a solo movie date. So I started with solo movies. Then when I started working uptown Charlotte, I realized that a lot of people eat by themselves a lot. They go to restaurants and eat by themselves a lot. So I would eat out quite a bit, which was a problem when you work uptown. You probably eat out more than you should, but I ate out a lot, and I would go eat at restaurants. Again, sit down, full-fledged restaurants, not just the Salsaritas and the Cordobas and the Chick-fil-A's, like full-fledged restaurants by myself, and I would feel no type of way because it was so commonplace. Like, other people were doing it. Again, sometimes they sit at the bar, but sometimes they would have a full table and they would be by themselves and feel no type of way. So again, starting out with eating out by yourself. If there's some food that you really want to try and you have a partner or a friend who does not want to try that food, what you gonna do? Not eat the food? Go to the restaurant and enjoy it by yourself. Start out there. Then I would say move to going on local trips by yourself. So look for something nearby. For me, my first solo local trip was to Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina, one of my favorite cities to go visit. I love mountains. I'm a mountains girl. Love seeing that. In the fall, I went on a solo local trip to there. But for me, what really started it is I travel for work. You guys know I'm a campus recruiter. That is what I do. I travel for work. So my first few trips, starting in like 2019, 2018, were for work for solo travel. So I went to Michigan, Ohio. I've been to West Virginia. I've been to a lot of places, some of which I went with a colleague, some of which I went solo. And then I would meet with a colleague there, but sometimes they were local to the area. So they just went home after the event while I was still there. So I would get on a plane, go up there by myself, usually eat by myself, but then of course a lot of my day would be structured around whatever conference or career fair I was doing. So those were medium solo trips. Then I did my Asheville trip, and then I was like, okay, I feel comfortable to go on my first big trip. Then after Asheville, or maybe before Asheville, and if you guys caught my New York City vlog trip, I took a trip to New York City with a friend of mine who was going up there for her work trip, but she happened to have a hotel room, and I was like, I guess I can crash there. I went to New York with her, but she had to go to work one day. So while she was at work, I took a solo day around New York City. I was like, if I can do it in New York City and feel comfortable, the city, the most populated city, and do a solo day going around Times Square. I went to Central Park. I went to the museum. I did all of that by myself. So I was like, okay, I feel very comfortable. If you can do it in New York City, you can do it anywhere. So in 2021, I planned my solo trips. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to make it be at least domestic this year, just because, again, 2021, we're still in the pandemic. I wanted to go to local places. So I chose Key West because I wanted a water environment, but then I wanted to go to LA and San Francisco too, because those were just two cities I always have been dying to just want to see. So I heavily researched the place, heavily researched the hotels I wanted to stay at. That's another thing I get questions about, is why I chose hotels. In all my videos, I stayed in hotels. I'm a hotel gal. I am not an Airbnb gal that much, even if I'm not solo traveling. Well, if it's a bigger group, yes, Airbnb makes total sense. But if you are solo traveling, not to say it doesn't make sense, but sometimes it's not any cheaper than going with a hotel. When you are Airbnb, the whole premise of it is that you get to split a lot of the costs with other people. With a hotel, again, I like what I like. So I'm a hotel person. I like being able to check in early. With Airbnb, sometimes they're very rigid with their check-in times. With me, you guys have watched my vlogs, I've gotten to cities at like 10 a.m. and check-in time isn't supposed to be till 2. But hotels, if they got the rooms, they'll put you into a room early. It really doesn't matter. With Airbnbs, there's one place, and if you do get in early, then that cuts down on the time for me. And if I'm barred by, I gotta get to that city by 3 p.m., then I'm gonna pick a flight that gets in a little bit later so I can go there, and then a day has been wasted. Again, I only get 20 days. I'm about maximizing my days. So I chose hotels, but if you feel comfortable solo traveling and choosing Airbnbs, that's perfectly fine, as well as a lot of these solo travel vloggers. Again, that's why I say this is not coming from the perspective of a solo female traveler who does this as a living. This is coming from somebody who likes to do it for fun. They'll tell you hostels. They will really push hostels on you because hostels are cheap. They're like $25 a night. You're staying with 80 other people. That makes sense for them because they live a lifestyle where they're doing this so repetitively that you want to get the cheapest option. Again, that's not my journey. I've done this 3 times this year. I think I can, put together the money for me to make that one-time hotel purchase make sense. So definitely research the area that you're staying in. Make sure that you're staying in a safe area. Again, you're solo traveling, so you want to make sure the area is safe. You want to make sure that the area has easy access to transportation. If you want to be close to landmarks, look at that as well. I loved my LA hotel, how close it was to things that I wanted to see. That's how I chose it. I actually had a best friend who lives out there. He's an actor. You guys didn't see our day together, but you saw, like, we went to Roscoe's and all that. I wanted our time together to be our time together. We hadn't seen each other in years, but I had a best friend who's lived in LA for years, so I consulted with him. Where's the best place to stay? He got your girl right. Now, I should have consulted with my San Francisco friend because I have a friend who lives in San Francisco as well, and I told him where I was staying after I picked it. He was like, maybe not the best area. But again, I didn't feel unsafe in a sense, but we'll get into safety in a minute. But one of the other benefits of solo traveling as opposed to traveling with others, what I found is that I get to seize the day a lot more when I'm solo traveling. So it didn't hurt also that I was going 3 hours behind. So I was going to San Francisco from North Carolina. So my body was already getting up early naturally. So where my body wants to get up at, say, 8:30 here, my body was getting up at 5:30 there, which wasn't a bad thing because then I got to spend like from 5:30 till pretty much sundown exploring and really enjoying and taking in the city. What I realized is that when you're dependent on other people and you're traveling with them, I've been with friends who didn't want to wake up till 11 because it's like, I don't know their level of exhaustion. Like, I have friends who have very tiresome jobs, and so it's like they want to sleep on their vacations. They trying to get that slumber. They trying to get that rest. I'm trying to explore. I'm trying to be out. I'm trying to seize the day. That my vacations are a little bit different. Whereas I think my Key West was a little bit more relaxing. I think my other ones where I really wanted to see the city. So I found that when you're solo traveling, you get to be the director of your own itinerary. So meaning you get to decide when, where, what, how, all of that. If you want to eat a specific food, then you go eat a specific food. And the friend I went to Cabo with, even though we ate, the same things and nothing was off, she's been vegan in the past. I think she's pescatarian now, but she's been vegan in the past. So that would probably have, if she was still currently vegan, dictated some of the places we could go, some of the things we could eat, all of that. Some places don't have a vegetarian or pescatarian menu. Because I only have 20 days and I wanted to go on several trips this year, and I want to also, have time off maybe around the holidays as well and one-off days as well. If you watch my travel vlogs, they were Friday to Monday. So I take off Friday and Monday. So there's 2 days off, and I get to get there Friday, get there early, explore Friday, explore Saturday, and explore Sunday, and not have to, my Airbnb doesn't let me until 4, so I got to get there around 4, and then I can't really explore, so then I'll do my exploring the other days. No, I get to explore every single day and got to see every single day because I'm not bogged down. Not really bogged down, but I don't have friends, I don't have children, I don't have other people's schedules to kind of interfere with mine. A common question I get is, how do I take my photos? Because if you guys have watched, I take my own photos when I'm solo traveling. How do I take those? I have a tripod, of course. You've seen it in my videos. I take my own photos when I film content. Every single photo that you've ever probably liked on my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram at LeaLevon89, I take myself here anyway, so I take them at my home. I can just take my tripod and then I take it with me on my trip. So I am the queen of taking my own photos here. I can do it elsewhere as well. So taking a tripod with you, or a lot of people say ask a stranger. I've never felt comfortable asking a stranger just because I like multiple photos, and I hardly ever like the first or second photo that somebody else takes of me, and they're not getting the angles. I know my angles. I've been content creating for 5 years. I'm the better photographer of the two of us. So tripoding it up has allowed me to get some great photos at some places that I really like. Now, when it comes to safety, that's the thing that people feel fearful of. It's like, well, how am I going to feel safe? Again, I live in a city like Charlotte whose the safety record isn't the greatest. So safety is a concern everywhere I go locally. So it's going to be still a concern where I go as I travel as well. I think the thing is, don't look super touristy. That's what I always remind myself is don't look super touristy. Don't have my camera out. If I'm out and about when I'm vlogging, I always tell you guys, I take my vlogging camera with me most places, but if I'm truly vlogging, I'm always vlogging on my phone most of the time. Most of my vlogs are shot with my phone if I'm outside of like my hotel room most of the time, just because, again, this is less touristy, conspicuous, like, what you doing? I'm just vlogging. As well as for somebody who's not a vlogger, I'd say just don't have that map out. I try to walk with a purpose. Walk with a purpose. Walk like you know where you're going. Walk like you don't need anybody to help you, give you directions. Walk like you're on a mission. I don't know how well I did it where the locals like, oh, I know she's not from here. I'll say another thing, because I specifically chose the months that I traveled around when the sun would be out the longest. I traveled June, July, and Labor Day weekend, so early September. So times before it started getting dark at like 5. It starts getting dark at like 5, 4 something now here because we're in daylight savings time. But when I traveled, I said, hey, I'm gonna do it during the summer because it doesn't get dark until like 8 something. So I could literally get up. I get up super early because my body, 1, won't let me sleep well in hotels anyways, but 2, the time difference really helped. I was able to explore from like 5:30 to like 7 o'clock, and that'd be a full like 12 hours of exploring in full 12 hours of sunlight. I want to be out during the day. If the sun was going down, I was back in the hotel room. That's just how it was. That might not be your reality if you travel during like a November, December, or January time frame where it does get darker earlier, but definitely say if you are, again, stepping your foot into solo traveling, think about those summer months where the days are a lot longer. But overall, those are my tips when it comes to solo traveling. I'm a big proponent of it. Again, don't put your life on pause because your friends are busy or you're busy. If 2020 has shown us anything, time is of the essence. Do it now. I'm in a phase of my life where I want to have a lot of fun days for myself. Eventually we'll get to the children thing, we'll get to the kids thing and building in days, but there's a lot of places and a lot of things that I want to see and I want to experience now before I have to, not have to bring, I'm gonna be happy to bring the children along on these things, but I want to do stuff for me now. I'm in a place where financially it makes sense for me. I'm not going to waste my time, and I feel like you shouldn't either. Again, you don't have to do 4 or 5 trips a year, but I say do one for yourself. Do one because you want to. Don't wait for others because you might be waiting for a while. So if this was helpful, give it a big thumbs up. Even if it wasn't helpful, still give it a big thumbs up. We want all the love and support over here on this channel, as well as make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss anything that I do over here. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram at LeahLaVon89 so you can keep up with my shenanigans in real time, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.